Well, I want to spend just a few moments talking to us about some of those words that the angels said to the shepherds that first Christmas night. The video with the Lego nativity that we just watched finished by saying that it was good news. And those were the words that the angels spoke to the shepherds. In Luke chapter 2 and verse 10, the angel said to them, "Do not be afraid, I bring you good news that will cause great joy for all the people." So how can Christmas be good news for all people? I'm sure for many of us here this morning, I'm especially looking at the kids and the young people. For you guys, Christmas is good news, isn't it? You get time off from school, you get time off from homeschool or from whatever you do in your normal week-to-week life. You get a chance to eat lots of tasty treats and watch lots of films and TV and play lots of games. And of course, when the big day finally comes, we get some presents to open and to play with. And for many of us older folks as well, Christmas is good news for us too, isn't it? Many of us, we get a bit of extra time off work. We get a chance to spend time with our family. We too get to enjoy a bit of nice food, maybe more than we would in a normal week. And there's nearly always something to watch on the TV, isn't there? But additionally, Christmas can sometimes, for all of us, young and old, be more difficult. Sometimes Christmas is less good, isn't it? Christmas can be, for many of us, a reminder of pain, of difficult situations, of broken relationships, of lost loved ones. For those of us who maybe struggle with aspects of our mental health, it can be an especially difficult time at Christmas as our routines are disrupted and changed. Many of us spend time looking on social media at how wonderful a Christmas time lots of our friends and family are having, and inside we feel empty and hollow. Some of us, depending on what we do for a job or our stage of life, Christmas is a busy and stressful time. It's much more difficult than even our normal life is, and it's hard to enjoy it. It's hard to have a good time. Sometimes it all gets a bit much. And it can feel, can't it, like sometimes Christmas can be a little bit trite. It can feel like it doesn't really have any substance to it. It can feel like Christmas promises so much to us. It promises us joy and cheer and happiness. But as the Christmas season comes and goes, it ultimately fails to deliver on those promises. Whether you love or loathe Christmas, you have to wonder sometimes, don't you, whether Christmas is an attempt to inoculate ourselves against our current world. Christmas is an attempt to distract ourselves from our day-to-day lives and from the problems that we face in this world. Is that what Christmas is? Is Christmas a distraction technique for us to forget our problems and our difficulties? We look at the world around us today, the cost of living crisis, war, issues with the climate and the worries and stresses that has for many of us. And that's not even to mention our own personal difficulties and issues. If that's all that Christmas is, something that is just trying to distract us from the real problems we face, then how can it be good news? Well, the angel who appeared to the shepherds that first Christmas night, they seemed pretty sure that they had something more to offer the shepherds than just a happy distraction. We might be tempted to think that the shepherds were sat there up on the hillside, bored out of their minds, and this offered a little bit of a distraction, an interesting way to spend a night. And it can be easy to imagine that that's what the case was. I used to work in a supermarket, and it wasn't a particularly exciting job. And when anything interesting happened, usually it was something involving the police on the street outside. If something like that happened, then me and all the other staff would immediately gather at the front of the store trying to work out what was going on, happy that some distraction had come to take our minds off of the boringness of work. I remember one time when I was in school, the air ambulance used the school field as a place to land to go and help someone out. And it's safe to say that no work was done for those couple of hours by any of the children in the school. So was the angel's arrival just a distraction for the shepherds? Well, no, the angels promised something huge. As we've heard, they promised good news that will cause great joy for all people. Christmas is, even for us, all this time later, good news of great joy for all people, whether we're young or whether we're a little bit older, whether we're Christmas lovers or Christmas loathers, whether you're more like Buddy the Elf or Arthur Christmas, or whether you're a bit more like Scrooge or the Grinch. Whichever you are, Christmas is good news of great joy for us. As we thought about one of the things that brings joy at Christmas, one of the things that makes Christmas good news is that we get to receive gifts. We get to receive gifts, and that makes Christmas good. Now, maybe you're expecting me to turn that around and say, well, actually, Christmas isn't about receiving, it's about giving. But really, at the heart of Christmas is us being given a gift. At the heart of Christmas is us all being able to receive a gift. Christmas is good news of great joy because we're given a mind-blowing, joy-bringing gift. If this Christmas you get bored of watching films, if you get bored of watching all the films and endless TV, if Call the Midwife is finished, and if you've watched The Stick Man or The Snail and the Whale for the 100th time and you want something else to watch, here's something that you can watch. Go online and type in the following phrase: I gave my kids a terrible present. Go home, search that up, watch the videos of people giving their children terrible Christmas presents and then filming their reaction. There's lots of funny reactions to kids being given awful presents. And one of the favorite ones that I saw was this little boy who opens up this awful present, and as he gets it out of the wrapping paper, his face drops. He looks up at his mum, and his mum says to him, "But we thought so long and so hard about what to get you this Christmas." And the little boy says, "Well, you didn't do a very good job." But one of the videos didn't go quite the way the parents were expecting. They decided that they would wrap up for their little toddler, their little girl, probably just 2 years of age, they'd wrap up for her a banana. So they wrap up the banana, and it's a bit brown, it's a bit past it. So they wrap it up and give it to her, and she opens it up, gets it out, and her face lights up. And she shouts at the top of her voice, "I'm happy!" and demands that this banana is immediately peeled for her so that she can eat it. Not quite the reaction her parents were expecting. What is the gift that we're all offered at Christmas? Can it bring true and lasting joy? Or is it more like the joy of getting a slightly past it banana that just lasts for a couple of minutes? Even if you really love bananas, it will soon be gone. What is the gift that we're all offered that brings great joy at Christmas? Well, the gift, as I'm sure maybe you've guessed, is a baby. Now, when a baby is born, we tend to say, don't we, oh, such and such a person has had a baby. A baby has been born to them. But did you notice how in this Christmas story, the angel says to the shepherds that a baby has been born to them? In verse 11 of Luke chapter 2, the angel says, "Today in the town of David, a Savior has been born to you." The shepherds have had a baby. It's a bit surprising, isn't it, that the shepherds have had a baby? And we sang that song, didn't we? Unto us a child is born, from the book of Isaiah. To us a child is born. Now, if someone came up to you out of the blue, if an angel appeared in the sky and said that a child was being born to you, that may not be an ideal situation. But it is good news that this baby has been born for us. It's good news that this baby is for everyone, for all who will receive him by faith. It is good news. Now, for good news to be good, it has to change things, doesn't it? And not just change things, but improve things. Good news is news which improves things for us. Christmas is good news for us when it interrupts our daily grind with friends and with family and with presents. The worse the situation, the better the good news. And the reason that this good news was so good was because the situation he came to fix was so bad. This baby, as we're told by the angels, was a savior. He came to save. And this was the situation. When Jesus came into the world, we're told in lots of different Bible passages that the world was full of darkness. We can look at the world around us today, can't we, and see that that's still very much the case. We can look into our own hearts and see that while there is much good within our hearts, there are also dark corners of selfishness and pride and anger and so on. But this is not the way that it's supposed to be. The story of history is mirrored by many of the greatest stories, in that, to start with, everything was great, but then something went wrong. God made the world. He made humans for relationship with him. He's a holy and perfect God who made this wonderful world and made people to live with him, to love him, and to be loved by him. But it all went wrong. Humans decided that they didn't want him, that they didn't need him. They rejected him and his commands, broke the relationship, and broke the world with it. The world has been full of darkness and death since then. And many of us still decide each day that we don't want him or need him. But Jesus was born as a savior, that all who believe in him will know light and life, will know meaning and purpose and hope in this life. This baby was born. He was special. He was the Son of God. He was God himself, come to earth as a human, like us. That's why in one of our readings we were told that he would be called Emmanuel, which means God with us, because he was God with us. Came into the world, born to ordinary people, born in an out-of-the-way place, and laid in an animal's feeding trough. He grew up. He lived a perfect life, always doing good, never rejecting relationship with God, never going against his commandments. He had compassion on the people that he met. He taught and he loved. He spoke to all kinds of people. He warned those who were proud and stubborn. He welcomed humble and poor sinners to himself. But then, as we heard in the video, this king that was a baby would go on to die. But he'd said that that was going to happen. It was necessary, because in his death, he took the punishment that sinners deserve for rejecting God upon himself. He took it upon himself. And we're told in the Bible that death couldn't hold him because he'd done nothing wrong. He did not deserve it. And 3 days later, he rose from the dead and was seen by many, many witnesses. And after that, he ascended up into heaven, where this man, Jesus, is living and alive, even this very moment. And all of this took place so that all who receive him, all who receive this gift by faith, will not perish, but will have everlasting life. We may well die, but we'll go to heaven, not hell, if we're trusting in Jesus. Our lives won't be easy if we're trusting in Jesus, but we'll live knowing the one that we were made to know, able to pray to him, to be helped by him in all our difficulties and darkness. This is why Christmas is good news, because it was God coming into the world to be with us, to save us. And this is why at the heart of Christmas is receiving a gift. Receive the gift of life this Christmas. Receive Jesus this Christmas. Amen. Let's sing once again.